Alright, my nigga, let's just talk about some controversial endings to TV shows, video games, and or movies. Let's do it. Spoilers for all of this shit. First up on the discussion block is Lost. Now, honestly, I started this journey of mine, I guess you could call it, of watching and or playing controversial games, TV shows, movies with Lost. Years ago, when I first started watching Lost, which is like, what, probably in 2018 or something like that. Regardless, when I first saw Lost, I was honestly really impressed with what I saw. I liked a lot of the characters, the story was very interesting, the mysteries to be unraveled, I was really intrigued. And then I got to the ending couple episodes, and I had already known that this show had a very controversial ending, but until I saw that shit with my own goddamn eyeballs, I was honestly confused as to what the controversy was about. Now I am no longer confused. The ending of this show is fucking dog shit, my nigga. This shit is fucking terrible. In comparison to a lot of other controversial endings that I have witnessed in my time, this one has to be one of the fucking worst. When people tell you that a show had a bad ending and they compare it to Lost, that is really not an understatement. This show's ending is fucking crap. Why is that? Okay, so obviously spoilers for everything, like I said in this video. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming you've already seen everything I've talked about, or you're just interested into seeing what I want to say about these things. Regardless, Lost has an extremely convoluted story, and I am not going to go into explicit detail of what happens because that would take like an hour and a half to explain the fucking story. Basically, all you need to know is that the ending of Lost is kind of like the fattest ass pull that you can imagine. Like, this shit is stupid. Peep this, right? Imagine watching a show that had like 6 seasons of interesting, relatable characters, an entire, like, interconnected plot that was, like, assumed to be revealed in the last couple seasons, time travel, niggas coming back from the dead, character motivations that change on a whim. I mean, this show is, no joke, an emotional roller coaster. One episode, you'll find your characters doing some shit that you'd expect on a deserted island, you know, some normal shit. And the next one, these niggas are blowing up a nuke to send themselves back to the early 2000s. Like, this shit is all over the place. And what makes it worse is that the last episode, it's revealed that everything that had happened is kind of purgatory. Not really. Let me explain. The showrunners for the show promised everyone when we were watching this that what we were seeing in the events of the island was real. Like, all that shit was not a dream. It was not purgatory. It was not like a you know, someone's coma-induced nightmare or something. It was all supposed to be real. And then they kind of flat out lied to your face about it. So there's this guy, right? This nigga over here needs to stop this nigga over here. And they had an entire, like, couple centuries long plan in order to thwart each other. And it culminates in this guy becoming this guy and this guy becoming this guy. Also, this guy's dead. Don't worry about that, though. We're supposed to believe that this dude over here's whole motivation is just to get off the island. And honestly, when you understand their backstories, that's not even like a bad thing. The Man in Black's whole motivation was just to leave, nigga. He was cursed to basically become this smoke monster. And he didn't even want to, bro. Like, he was just like, this. His mom's a bitch. Like, she just fucking forced him into this position that he didn't even want to be in, like, the whole time. And then this guy over here kills who even knows how many people in order to get this outcome. Like, this shit is lame as fuck. And then to make things worse, the last shots that we see of the flash sideways, right? Everyone calls the stuff the flash sideways because in Lost there's a whole bunch of different flashbacks, flash forwards, flash sideways, right? Naturally. All this shit in the flash sideways, all the stuff with Jack and his son, yeah, none of that was real. They're in purgatory. All this right here, that is actually purgatory. And I'm one to believe that these niggas lied, bro. Like, this shit is just, why did they lie, bro? This shit is so lame. They didn't resolve any of the character arcs almost. The show's plot kind of just falls down a fucking, like, rabbit hole. It doesn't explain, like, the 1,000 other mysteries that were set up in, like, the first couple seasons that seem to have extremely significant importance to the story of this island. Nope. All that shit goes down the shitter, man. Like, what even happened, bro? This shit was so ass.
Woke up this morning, got some gabagoo. And then I woke up the next day and got some gabagoo.
The Sopranos. I mean, this show I actually just recently finished like a couple months ago, and I gotta say, when it comes to controversial endings, of all the things I'm gonna talk about, I gotta hold my hat, bro. This one is definitely the best one. I don't know why niggas were crazy about this shit, bro. This ending is honestly, I'm not even gonna cap, the best fucking ending I think I've ever seen to a TV show. It's amazing. If you followed The Sopranos, you know that the story of Tony Soprano is fucking really hard to watch. And there is so much character analysis that goes on between Tony and the other principal characters, and how Tony's actions are kind of a reflection of his psyche. All that shit is all well and good, and I am no expert on like media analysis, but basically my interpretation of what was happening in the end is that this nigga died. Like, honestly, I had seen the ending of The Sopranos long before I'd even watched it, and when I first saw it, I was like, damn, that is pretty jarring. I understand why people were mad. But now that I've seen the show, and I've seen pretty much all of this being foreshadowed, no, this ending's perfect, dog. If you niggas really got mad at this shit, honestly, I don't think you were paying attention. That's all I gotta say. Tony's actions, for him being this horrible sociopath, essentially, caught up with him, and the nigga got capped. Even if he doesn't die in this moment, he's gonna be indicted, so it's over for him, bro. I mean, this ending's great, you know? Like, sure, it's a little jarring to have him cut in between Don't Stop Believing, but, like, that's kind of, like, the point, right? You know, people are here, and then they're not. This ending's a 10 out of 10, bro. Like, don't shoot me with this bullshit, bro. This ending's godlike. Alright, this is also another one that I've recently just done. Evangelion, or should I say Neon Genesis Evangelion, because that's actually the name of the anime. So, when it comes to Evangelion and talking about its endings with an S, God, I'm very sick as I'm recording. Evangelion's endings are still controversial, even to this day. So even for me to talk about Evangelion's ending, I kind of need to talk about all three of them. So the first ending, episodes 25 and 26, yeah. See, Evangelion's entire story was less about the angel fights and the Evangelions themselves, the Evas, these fucking things, and more about the character relationships. And honestly, when I watched 25 and 26, I got it. Or at least I think I got it. It is very, very avant-garde and very surreal. Like, all the shit that happens here is fucking crazy, bro. I'm not gonna cap. This shit is wild to like watch for the first time. It is. This shit comes out of left field, or at least it feels like it comes out of left field. But not really, because at least they've had scenes just like this in previous episodes. So it's not like any of this is really that new. The main reason why people were probably upset, beyond the fact that there's like very limited animation and there's like not a lot of plot resolution, to be honest, is probably just the fact that, like, honestly, my biggest problem with it, like, I don't know. My biggest problem with this ending specifically is the fact that only Shinji gets, like, character resolution. We don't really find anything else about what happens with our other characters. We don't see what happens to Shinji's dad, Gendo. We don't really see what happens to Misato or Asuka or Rei beyond what Shinji... Basically beyond stuff that we already know. Like, they don't really get character resolutions like Shinji does in these episodes. So, honestly, fair enough. I still think this ending is fine. If I was to, like, rank it amongst the other ones that we've talked about so far, this one's probably in the middle. I don't think it's bad. Now, the end of Evangelion, however, is, like... I mean, what do you expect me to say, nigga? It's like one of the best movies ever made, bro. Are you stupid? This ending kind of took everything that wasn't in the original ending and just turned it up to 11. I mean, this has some of the best animation that I've ever seen in a movie. One of the best scores for a fucking film. Honestly, I've never seen a movie so goddamn cynical in my life, and I love it. It's great. I really love depressing, kind of like cynical movies in this sense, and this one really does it like so well, man. This shit is good, bro. Like, watch this movie. If you haven't seen Evangelion, watch all of Evangelion. Shit, everything that I'm talking about in this video, go give it a watch or a play, man. They're all good, except Lost. Fuck Lost. But the ending of Evangelion is amazing. This, honestly, if they just kept the ending of Evangelion the ending of the entire series and never did the rebuilds, I would have been fine. The ending of this movie is fucked up. This whole movie is fucked up, but it's really good, and it is absolutely deserving of a watch, bro. This shit is so good. Holy shit. You know how often I sing Comme Susur Todd, bro. Y'all don't understand. Now we have to talk about the rebuilds, or what is it, 1.0 plus 3.0 Thrice Upon a Time. Honestly, this ending to Evangelion is good. I like it. I don't like it more than the end of Evangelion. The only problem that I have with the end of Evangelion is that we don't really get to see Shinji and Gendo talk. And that is immediately resolved in this movie. They pretty much talk for the last 10 minutes, and it really feels like all the problems that Shinji and Gendo have for each other and with themselves get resolved in their conversation. I really like the ending of this movie. I don't really like the rebuilds in general, but the ending of the rebuilds is really good. I like them. Evangelion, all your endings, I like. None of them are terrible. I get the controversy, but honestly, you niggas just need to pay attention more, for real. Also, don't send death threats. Mass Effect. Now, Mass Effect, and specifically Mass Effect 3's ending, is still very controversial, at least to what I understand. Alright, look, to even explain this, you'd have to have played all the other games. Imagine this, right? Peep this shit, right?
Okay.
Yo, peep this
$19.
one. Imagine that you've gone through and played like 250 hours or so of gameplay relating to these characters, these different races of aliens, right? Trying to stop this imminent existential, total annihilating Reaper threat, you know, the main enemies of the series. And then you get to the end of this great story. You get to see all your characters. You're able to gather the entire galaxy in order to stop the final assault of the Reapers, all that good shit. And this little nigga pops up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, honestly, I really don't like the ending of Mass Effect 3. I'm still kind of pressed about it, I'm not gonna lie. The ending of this game had so much potential. Half the reason why this ending is so bad is that the ending of this game got leaked online before it was finished. Also, because EA is a shitty company and didn't give BioWare enough time nor money in order to complete the game the way that they wanted it to. So after all this stuff, right, you charge down to you're in Vancouver, right? You charge all the way down to this fucking fat ass like laser beam, right? There's this Reaper guarding it. He kills all the advancing soldiers. He may even kill your friends if you didn't do a good enough job when you played the game. He leaves for some fucking reason. You go up this beam after killing these fucking ads. And then you have this long-ass dialogue scene that is kind of an interesting character moment, I suppose, between these three characters. And then Anderson dies. And then you get brought up to this platform in the vacuum of space to meet this fucking little idiot, right? This bitch-ass nigga, bro. The Star Child, right? Many people, myself included, hate this nigga, right? What is the Star Child? The Star Child is supposed to be the embodiment of all of the Reapers. Basically, their entire collective intelligence synthesized into a single being. And this nigga's annoying as fuck. He basically explains the Reaper's motivations. This is basically Mass Effect's, like, Matrix Reloaded moment, I believe. Which is fine. I haven't even seen that fucking movie. I just know that that's a reference to shit that people don't like. He basically explains that the reason why the Reapers are doing their whole harvesting cycles, right? The whole 50,000 years thing that they've been doing is that they believe that organic life cannot progress to a point where it can create synthetic life that will inevitably destroy all of organic life. He believes, or I guess the Reapers believe rather, that if organics are able to make synthetic life forms powerful enough, they will eventually be destroyed by their own creations. Weirdly enough, this is kind of an echo to the Leviathans, the race of beings that actually created the Reapers in and of themselves. So I understand that they're running on faulty logic, but the biggest thing about this that is stupid as fuck to me is the fact that the Star Child doesn't mention the fact that there is a possibility that if you played the game right, and didn't fuck up Legion and or Tally's trust missions in Mass Effect 2 and they both survived, you can get the Quarians and Geth to work together. Pretty much no questions asked, almost. They're very, very close to fighting and, like, destroying themselves, mutually assured destruction, all that, and Shepard just says, nigga, don't do that, and they're like, okay. They're all cool. It's all, like, fucking sunshine and rainbows now. Not only that, the Geth are gonna help the Quarians get their fucking homeworld back and like fix their atmosphere so they can stop wearing their biosuits. Like, this is the best ending possible for these two races within Mass Effect. So after all this shit, basically you're left with 3 choices. You can control the Reapers, you can synthesize with them, you can destroy them, and you can reject all of it, but that's the wrong choice. If you do that, the game pretty much gives you a fucking middle finger game over for not choosing. And to make matters worse, no matter which option you choose, the cutscenes that follow are essentially the exact same, with very minor differences. Even after the extended cut DLC, this changes very little. I guess the ending cutscene is probably the biggest change, and that's nice and everything, but these slideshows just aren't fucking doing it for me, man. And this isn't even talking about the whole indoctrination theory, which would make this ending honestly 1,000 times better if it was true, but BioWare pretty much all but shot it dead in the water with the extended cut DLC. This shit doesn't work anymore. I still don't understand how the fuck Shepard survived in the Destroy ending, though, nigga. Can someone explain that to me? How did this nigga survive? For real. This shit makes no sense. Fuck Mass Effect 3's ending. This shit is still annoying as fuck. I still love the game series. I still will play them over and over and over again, bro, but, like, this shit still got me a little, I'm not gonna lie, it got me a little tight. This ending sucks ass.
Have you shot your final scenes yet, and are you happy with how things ended? Yeah. She didn't say yes.
Best season ever!
Well, we can't talk about controversial endings without talking about Game of Thrones, baby. Oh boy. Everyone on Earth and their mama has talked about this shit already, so I'll just keep this as brief as I can make it. I gotta say, Game of Thrones is also another show that I'd only recently just watched. Yeah, I'm late to the party on a lot of shows, nigga. Leave me alone. Game of Thrones ending is like so bad that it's honestly impressive. Compared to everything else that I've already talked about in this video, this one I think is the #1 worst ending to anything I think I've ever seen. I've never seen a show that had such goodwill, such great character writing, such attention to detail, right? Such great acting, all go down the shitter in like a season and a half. That is something that I don't think many shows or movies or video games can top. It is incredible. We go from watching all these really interesting characters basically turn into caricatures of what their traits used to be. Cersei, instead of being someone who's incredibly complex and has this like interesting relationship with her brother and her views of being a woman and sexuality, is just kind of boiled down to being a bitch. This guy over here, you see this guy, Jaime? Yeah, he just wants to fuck his sister. That's his motivation now. Yep, that's it. You see this guy over here? He actually doesn't have a character anymore. They took that away from him at the end of this season. Yeah. Honestly, for me, the show really started going downhill when Jon came back to life. Like, I don't know, bro. I really have a problem when TV shows, especially, bring characters back from the dead when it just feels inappropriate to do so. This is like my biggest problem with Dragon Ball, is that there's like no stakes in Dragon Ball because these niggas can just be wished back at basically any time. I really don't like it. It's just annoying to me. Bringing this nigga back from the dead, especially when 1,000 other characters should have been brought back before him, is just annoying as fuck to me. Not to mention the fact that everything with the Night King was basically a waste of time. You mean to tell me that this nigga, who is so important to the lore of Westeros, so important to the history of Westeros, that pretty much everyone in Westeros knows the phrase "winter is coming," and knows that that means that something terrible is coming, the White Walkers will eventually return, and this nigga is handled in like an hour and a half? Come on, bro. And to make matters worse, this nigga got slid on by Arya. Not to say that Arya isn't a badass, she's fucking amazing, but this nigga got slid on so fast, bro. Why was he a threat, bro? Like, come on, like, this shit is so silly. And then the rest of the show is just fucking Daenerys destroying all of King's Landing for almost no reason at all. I understand that when her friend died, like, that hurt her or whatever, but, like, come on, bro. Like, of all the 1,000 things that Cersei had done up to this point, this is the thing that makes you decide to destroy everyone in King's Landing? I don't know. I feel like this ending was concocted in such a way that they kind of had to destroy everyone's character traits in order to make it so that way Bronn could be the king. I don't know, bruh. This shit is terrible. Honestly, to go into depth to explain it would take an entire video in and of itself. I don't even need to say anything. You already know this shit is dog shit, bro. This ending is fucking trash. Goddamn. So yeah, these are some controversial endings. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I recorded this while I was very, very, I was gonna say constipated, what the fuck? Congested, as you can very clearly tell. I may do a part 2 of this because there are other shows, TV shows, there's other TV shows, movies, and games that have controversial endings. It would be fun to talk about them. Anyway, my nigga, y'all have a good one. Oh, what? What did you actually hold that for? Nigga, no, you didn't just... Oh, bro, I need to clip